Hello everybody, I'm back. It's Sue from Scrappy Doo Sue. I hope everyone's keeping well. Today's Monday. Fortunately I had the day off today. We've been having to use up holiday because our holiday year ends at the end of March. So I have to fit in with my two colleagues, and they had quite a bit more leave to take than I did. So I'm taking my last 2 days this week, today and tomorrow, hence why you may see a few more frequent videos from me this week. Anyway, I hope everyone's keeping well, and the weather seems to have gone slightly spring-like and become a bit milder at the moment, so long may it last. Anyway, today I am going to show you episode 6 of the Dee Dee Farago challenge, hashtag 2021 TCTC, and it is what I can only describe as a double pocket envelope. Now, I made one as an example, and I've made it really tiny because I think you can make these in any size you want. Dee Dee said that this has been inspired by Patricia Veramonte and Stampin' Stiletto. I haven't seen their versions, but I did watch Dee Dee's, and so I'm going to follow along with her. So basically it's a little envelope, and you make a little closure like that, and inside you have two pockets. So you've got a pocket in the back there and a pocket in the front there, and then if you were to glue it onto your journal page, if you glued just those three sides, you'd have another pocket at the back, or you could glue those three sides and have a pocket on the side, on the right hand side, or vice versa, glue those three sides and have one this side. So it's very versatile. And I thought, well, I'll make one very small, just to see what it looked like, really. And I really like it. Now, this challenge really is all about using up scraps. So for this one, I've just used some bits of scrapbooking paper that I had lying about, and Dee Dee made hers initially in book page paper, and then you can make it in whatever paper you like. Obviously I wouldn't advise making it in thick cardstock, because when you try to fold over that, it always cracks. So go for the thinner, scrapbook cardstock, and you can use whatever you like and decorate it however you like once you've finished. So let's get started. Now, Dee Dee, her measurements were, you need two pieces, and her measurements were 8¼ inches tall by 5 inches wide for the bigger piece, and then 3¼ inches tall by 5 inches wide for the inside piece, the piece that fits in here, the second pocket. So this one I made in 6 inches high by 3 inches wide, and a 6 inches, no, hang on a minute, I made it in 6 inches, the bigger piece was 6 inches high by 3 inches wide. The little piece is 3 inches wide by 2 inches, just over 2 inches high. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, now I didn't have any sort of scrapbook paper that isn't really thick cardstock lying about in the measurements that Dee Dee gave, not the 8¼ inches high, because everything I have seems to have a sort of directional pattern on it. So I've gone for 3 different types. So this one here, the tall piece is 8 inches high by 5 inches wide, so I've only gone slightly smaller, and the smaller piece is 5 inches wide by 3 1/4 inches high. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is, or you don't need to do it if you don't want to, but I'm just going to ink around the edges very quickly, and I'm using Vintage Photo. Gone back to that again today, so I'll just quickly ink around these edges here. It would be best if I had it on the right side, and I hope your weather's as good as ours at the moment. It's really lovely. Okay, now what I decided to do is, I decided, as my paper is one-sided and as it's directional, I thought I would turn it over and have it upside down so that I had it, so that it turned out the right way up. Okay, so I'm going to bend my bottom flap up by, I don't know, 2 1/2 inches, but really it's entirely up to you. So that's what I'm going to do there, like so. Give that a fold, like so. Okay, right, and then you want to put the second piece in widthways like that. Line the bottom up with that crease that you've just made, and then just check when you push that flap back up that you've got an envelope flap to come down like so. So that seems to fit okay. I'm happy with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my glue, and I am going to glue this down on 3 sides. So a thin bead of glue down 3 sides, 2 sides and a bottom, like so, and line it up with that bottom crease like so. Like so. Okay, right, just give that a press down. So that's going to be a top pocket. So then you want to glue the bottom pocket down, just down the left and the right hand side, like so. Like so, and hold that back up. Now it's up to you how high you have, or how much gap you have between this pocket and this pocket. It's entirely up to you, like so. And then I am going to round the corners of the top flap. Again, this is optional, you don't need to do that. Just ink those corners, and then you're going to fold the top flap down, because that's your envelope flap, like so. Give that a fold, put that pin in the glue before it goes dry, and then what you want is, you want to cut out a little circle or whatever you prefer to use as a closure. And I'm just going to use a plain one on here because you can decorate this afterwards. So we're just going to ink around that to define those edges. I mean, you could stick something nice on that. And then we're going to glue it about 3/4 down so that we've got that closure like that. So I'm going to turn it over and hold it there, and I'll take the pin out, would be a good idea, and I'm just going to glue across there and round there, like so. And then position that 3/4 of the way down in the centre. You can measure it if you wish, or you can eyeball it. So there you have it. There it is. There is your envelope with a pocket at the top, a pocket down below, a little flap to close it. So it's a pretty little envelope. And then if I stuck it to my journal page, I could have a top pocket here if I stuck those 3 sides down, or those 3 sides and have one in here, or those 3 sides and have one in here. So you get the drift. Okay, so that's that one. Right, so let's make another one. Now this paper might be slightly smaller. Oh, it's 8 inches high again, by 5 inches wide, and this is just under 3 inches high and 5 inches wide. So this is some lovely wallpaper by Janie B Journals, from one of her wallpaper kits, and I will post a link below. I'm just wondering now, if I turn it up that far, what's that going to look like, and have it kind of like that. Okay, yeah, that's fine, I think. Yeah, it's fine. It's very pretty, isn't it? Really lovely. The days when people had wallpaper on their walls, I don't know about you, but we don't go in for any wallpaper really. We like plain painted walls. I actually quite fancy, when we do some more decorating, I quite fancy having one wall papered in something nice, and then 3 painted walls. That would be quite nice. So let's just check that again. So I've got matching paper for this one. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's okay. That's all right. So let's ink that round. And I might have a look at some Tim Holtz Distress inks and have a look and see about getting maybe a couple more. I mean, mine are tiny. They're not the full size ones. They're the mini ones, I think. But to be quite honest with you, they've lasted me ever since I started. I know I'm probably not, you know, journaling and junk journaling and making journals like on the level that everyone else is, and ephemera and that sort of thing. So I'm very new to, you know, the whole videoing thing. But I am impressed. They haven't dried out. Tanya at Tatty Treasure says she leaves hers upside down like this, and she thinks that helps to keep that moist. So I do tend to do that. I love the fact that they stack one on top of the other. I do like that fact. So I have cut out a circle that matches the paper for this one. Good way to use up your scraps. And as I say, you know, you can decorate these afterwards according to where you're going to put them and what the project's, you know, theme is. So we're going to stick this one down first. So we're going to hold the top that we don't want the glue on, and we're going to run a thin bead of glue down the left side and along the bottom and down the right side. Now, if I said that in the wrong order, just ignore me, because my husband is convinced I don't know my left from my right, especially when we're driving, and he expects me to give directions. Thank goodness for sat-navs, because I know he's convinced that I don't know my left from my right. And I must admit, if I'm in a busy shopping centre, those were the days. and that's not, oh, not quite lined up there. Anyway, I should just ink that edge again just to get rid of that bit of white. But yeah, those are the days when you could go shopping in a shopping centre. Just shopping, like we were talking about the other day. I'd come out of a shop and I wouldn't actually know where I had to go, where I'd been and where I needed to go. I just sort of stood there like a rabbit in headlights thinking, oh, now which way? Anyway, that's that. So, I hope we've all been busy crafting. I mean, I could actually be outside doing a bit of gardening, but I chose to craft instead. So I'm going to cut the corners, because I like corners rounded. And I'm just doing the 10mm one. I like that one as well. And actually just make sure I don't want the gathered twigs, so I'm moving that away. The worst thing is if you forget which one's which and you don't know which one to put the lid back on. So I'm going to have that up that way. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to hold it with my thumb, and I am just going to go and glue 3/4 of the way underneath my thumb, like so. And take it and just automatically plonk it down without any thought as to whether it's in the centre or not. And I think that's okay. And there we have it. Like so. I mean, you could double up these circles actually to make them a little bit stronger, but that might be a good idea. It's a little bit bendy, but that's okay. And there we have it. That's number 2. Then I do one more, and I've had these scraps. These are from Janie B's Botanical Yellow kit. So I am making a spring journal, and I've used some of this paper in that. So I decided that I would actually use up some scraps that I've already accumulated. Honestly, I don't think there's any way of getting rid of scraps, to be honest, because as fast as you're using them up, you're creating more. So it's a never-ending circle, really. But I would really like to do some what's known as Franken pages, collaging with some scraps and making some big A4 pieces, or bigger even if you have paper that's bigger, using a piece of paper as a base and then collaging over it, stitching around it if you're you know into stitching around things, and then you can make them into tags and journal cards, and they're very interesting when they're all cut up. So I quite like that idea. Now this piece is 8 inches and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/8 of an inch, and 3 inches and 1/8 of an inch wide. So it's a bit of an odd shape. So this again is 3 inches and 1/8 wide, and I've made it 3 inches tall. Okay, so again, I want my pattern on the outside, so this isn't directional, so I'm going to think about where I want my flap to be, my bottom pocket. So if I have it there, I don't like that top flap being so long. So if I have it there, it means I have less gap there. Do I like that or not? Do I like it? I think so. I think that's a nice small one. So they're so simple, especially after those last ones we did. Goodness me, they were awful ones. Episode 5, I found them very tricky. Anyway, let's see. It's got to be squared because yeah. Do I want a bigger gap between mine? So I'm deliberating, but this is the beauty of these. You can have them however you want them. So I quite like to have the pocket a bit lower like that. So I'm going to go for it and make a crease along there. And then I'm going to have the flap down there and I'm going to leave enough room in there to put something in and out. So I could actually have it a little bit higher than that even and have a slightly taller one, which I quite like the idea of having. So we're just going to go with that like so. Okay, so again you are going to glue on 3 sides a thin bead of glue along down the side, along the bottom and up the opposite side, and you're going to line that up with your crease like so. Give that a fold, but not a fold, press down, and just going to wipe that excess off with my dry wipe. Right, so now I want to glue this flap up, and yeah, I think I'm going to have it even lower than that this time. I thought that was a bit of fluff, but it's not. It's the marking on the paper. When I first printed this paper, you see all these marks here. I thought, oh my goodness, my printer's playing up again. But it's actually part of the pattern. So I was on the verge of falling out of the printer and throwing that in the rubbish, but I didn't. So it's a very nice pattern on the paper. Right, so we now want to glue down the 2 sides of this flap. So we just, oh gosh, I cannot glue in a straight line. If you paid me to. Right, so we made a crease already there. Right, okay. Okay, so again, not doing a good job unless you glued the whole of your surface. Right, so there we have it. Now, have we got a piece that we cut out? I thought I cut a piece out of this piece of paper. I haven't, so maybe we'll cut one out with a circle punch in the same paper, and we will double it just to make it a bit thicker this time. So I'm going to just glue one on top of the other. Take the pin out, Susan. Oh gosh, it's a good job that fell down actually, because I wanted the pattern outside. I was just about to glue the pattern side, and so we're going to glue those together like so. Okay, like so. There's a tiny bit of hangover there. Okay, just going to ink that round quickly while it's damp. Right, and we're going to glue 3/4 of the way up the circle like so. And then we're going to stick that down in the middle like so. And that is a long flap sort of envelope like so. So that is what we have made today. And we have the one I made earlier and these three, all in slightly different sizes. It's entirely up to you what size you make it in, and really the type of paper you're using, whether it's patterned, one-sided, double-sided, you know, it's entirely up to you. As I say, the exercise is all about using up scraps. So there we have it. So thank you for watching. Go off and make some now. Worth keeping in your stash. These will fit nicely into my spring journal anyway. So that's what I'll probably use them in. Oh, I know what we didn't do with this one. I just noticed before I say goodbye. Let's do the corner rounder. Oh, corner. See, I do prefer the 10. I don't know why. But, and that doesn't want to cut now. Should have left it, shouldn't I? And noticed it off camera. Then you wouldn't have seen that happen. Right, no worries. We will just ink that, and then we will say, that looks much better actually, and then we will say goodbye. Goodbye. See you next time. Bye.